Hi guys, so welcome to my channel. So today, to start this channel off, it's a brand new channel where I do mini deep dives into a lot of interesting topics that I like. I figured I had to start with a place that I love and doing a deep dive into Wall, South Dakota, and specifically Wall Drug. So if you're coming from my van life channel, you guys know I have spent so much time in Wall, South Dakota, and specifically visiting the Badlands and camping on the Wall and going to Wall Drug. So if you guys don't know, Wall is in South Dakota. It's about an hour outside of Rapid City, so it is on the western side of the state. It's right off of 90. Wall is actually only 7.5 miles from the entrance of Badlands National Park. Of course, Wall was established in 1907, so that's well before the national park even became a national park, but it does have a really cool history, even though today they still only have a full-time population of around 700. It's so small in comparison to the amount of visitors they get every single summer, either passing through to visit the Black Hills, Mount Rushmore, or go down to Badlands National Park and passing through, or just stopping their way over because they got drawn in by the hundreds of signs promoting Wall Drug and to visit Wall. Although Wall now relies heavily on tourism to keep the town going, it is primarily ranches and farms, agriculture year-round. So it looks like this tiny town has just been dropped in the middle of the prairie, and you can't really appreciate the appeal of Wall until you drive that 5, 6, 7 miles. You can see the Badlands open up, and it is just breathtaking views for miles, and then you see the appeal of why people wanted to settle here in the first place. I'll say this off the top, because if you do want to visit Wall after I talk about Wall or Wall Drug, there is free camping up on the Wall, which is how Wall got its name. You go up on a hill on a little bit of a prairie, and then all of a sudden you see vast expanse overlooking Badlands National Park. You don't have to actually go into the park to camp up here. It's free. You can camp up to 2 weeks. It's obviously hot in the summer. It's obviously cold in the winter, and it gets really windy and the storms blow in so quickly here. So you do need to be weather aware and careful when you are visiting and camping on the Wall. But let me tell you, even though I've had some very nerve-wracking experiences camping up here, I still go back every single year because it is just one of my favorite places, and it's just so gorgeous that I can only imagine how it felt when original settlers came up to the Wall and got to see this right in their backyard. So like I had mentioned previously, if you ever drive down the interstate in South Dakota, either direction, you are going to see signs upon signs upon signs to entice you to visit Wall Drug. And as many times as I visited, I never truly looked into the history behind Wall Drug. It does have a really good history behind it, and for my first video on this channel, I just wanted to share a little bit about that because I thought it was such a great message that Ted and Dorothy Husted, who opened Wall Drug in 1931 amidst the Great Depression, kind of have lived and died by. So Wall Drug itself was a pharmacy in Wall. So Ted Husted was a pharmacist. He was a couple years out of pharmacy school when he took Dorothy, his wife, who was a school teacher out of Sioux Falls, out to the prairie to make their way. Ted had just received about a $3,000 inheritance and wanted to start his own pharmacy. He thought working under other pharmacists for the rest of his life obviously wasn't maybe the best option for his future and the future of his family. He wanted to find a quiet town on the prairie with a good Catholic church and to open his own pharmacy. So that's what they did, and they opened the pharmacy in 1931. They spent a lot of hot summers there and a lot of very cold winters there with very few visitors. So pharmacies and drugstores back in the day obviously didn't just sell medications, they had other amenities. They were the ones that had more access to ice and water, and they prioritized getting other things like ice creams and soda machines to entice people to come into their pharmacy. Because it is a struggle to, in a small town of, at the time, less than 300 people, to live full-time off of just medications and ailments people had and trying to solve them as they came up. You want a more consistent customer base. As an entrepreneur, Ted and Dorothy knew, and they knew it was going to be a struggle to build that in this very sleepy town, that they were going to give Wall a good 5-year try. They got told by family members back home that Wall was godforsaken and nothing would ever come of it, and that they were essentially wasting their time and their inheritance Puritans trying to establish themselves here, but Ted and Dorothy were super motivated to build their life here because they just saw the potential of what could be. And they had a discussion that they were going to wait because Mount Rushmore was being built, and although it was the Great Depression, people were starting to gain a little bit of hope, and they just wanted to have that hope themselves for their future. 4 years later, they were standing inside the pharmacy on a very hot, windy summer day. They were hearing the cars pass by on Route 16 and just disappointed that more people weren't enticed into coming to their store. In December, it was their 5-year mark where they were going to have to give up on their dream. They also had a brand new baby, and they were worried that if they didn't do something quick to establish themselves, that they would have to abandon their dreams, and nobody wants to ever do that. Dorothy put the kids down for a nap and tried to go lay down for a nap herself, but decided the cars passing by were just too loud and teasing her that they weren't stopping at their store. So she came up with the idea and told Ted about how they should offer free ice water to all of these hot and thirsty travelers that were just blowing right by their town. They had access to water and they had access to ice, and she thought, why not? Let's just write a cute poem and put it out on signs on Route 16 so passerbys would come right into town and stop in our store. Ted thought, why not? So with the help of a couple high school students, Ted built and hand-painted custom signs to put along the route so people would be enticed to come in for free ice water. Just after putting up those signs, they received their first customer of the day coming in for his free ice water and sat down at the counter and said, you know what would go great with this? A scoop of ice cream. And Ted says an amazing article he wrote and that you should go read on the Wall Drug website. It went on like gangbusters after that. There was a constant stream of travelers in and out of the store. They had no idea it would be such a great success and such a big hit with all of these travelers. And to this day, they have signs all over, which is now 90. They saved their business and they still have a stream of up to 20,000 visitors a day. One little idea for free ice water completely turned this business and town around and is one of the most amazing things, because if you think just a few years after this happened, in 1939, Badlands National Park became a national park. Mount Rushmore finally got completed and people were traveling back and forth to go see the national park and to go see Mount Rushmore. Also, just east of Wall, there are the Minuteman missile silos that also had a healthy population of service personnel that was traveling from the Ellsworth Air Base in Rapid City to the missile silos just east of them. So to entice more people to stop on their daily commute instead of just relying on tourists, they offered free coffee and donuts for any servicemen who were working at the missile silos, and then now to this day extend that free coffee and donut to any active or veteran service member. So they really stick to their roots and haven't changed much over the years in the fact that they know that solving a need for someone who may come in and spend a little bit more money or just spend time or word of mouth, they can offer that free ice water to this day. They also still offer 5-cent coffee, which at the time I'm sure was the going rate. And you can also get free bumper stickers for your car to continue that signage and that pull to Wall Drug no matter where you're traveling in the world. Like I said, on a very good tourist day, they can draw in up to 20,000 visitors. Wall Drug now, instead of being one store, covers an entire city block and is huge. There are little cute art installation attractions. There's an entire restaurant. There's a fudge shop. There's obviously a merch store, and there's a little chapel for travelers. There are so many cool things to stop in and see at Wall Drug. It is 100% worth a stop and at least seeing once in your lifetime, because it's just hidden out on the prairie in such a cool location and has such a cool story that it is just a worthy stop to go get your free ice water, to get your bumper sticker, a 5-cent coffee, and I do highly recommend the fudge. Of course, it is very busy during tourist season, which is the summer months, and it is very hot in South Dakota, so I would be aware. Wall Drug now sees over 2 million visitors a year, and it is a very, very one-stoplight tiny town. I would be prepared to see the crowds or go early in the season or late in the season, and also know that there's not much around other than the couple restaurants in town that have obviously cropped up and Wall Drug, so be prepared to camp out on the wall or make your reservation at the Badlands National Park to go camp camping, or there are a few hotels and motels in town that you can stay at as well. Everybody is just so welcoming because they love the tourism and all of the visitors to their town. So I just want to leave you with one last quote from Ted. Ted says, "Free ice water. It brought us Husteds a long way, and it taught me my greatest lesson. And that's that there's absolutely no place on God's earth that is God-forsaken. No matter where you live, you can succeed, because wherever you are, you can reach out to other people with something that they need." And I will leave you with that, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye!